Let's throw it to you for an opening statement.
All right. First of all, wrap it up with the Missouri game. We ended up on the wrong end of a very hard-fought game against Missouri. I thought we did all the things we needed to do for 3 quarters. We created turnovers. We got off the field on third down on defense, played very well on special teams, and again, just didn't finish the game the way we needed to. And I think we're looking back at that game. It was a missed opportunity to do something really special against a Big 12 team on the road, but I also think that there were a lot of things that happened in that game that we can learn from and grow from, and I think in the long run it's going to make us a better football team. The one thing I would say is I'm very proud of how hard our guys played. Just going back and watching that film on Sunday, our guys played with tremendous heart, a lot of energy, and the one thing as a football coach, you always ask if the guys leave it on the field, and I felt that way Saturday, and after watching the film Sunday, our guys just gave us a tremendous effort, and at times the execution wasn't what we needed, but the effort was tremendous. So we got to turn the page and get ready to play a very talented and a very good team at Marshall. The venue is certainly a challenge. Marshall has 16 starters returning from a year ago. They have some outstanding players on both sides of the ball. Both of their lines are big and physical and stout. They have some tremendous skill on offense. They have a returning quarterback, a tight end that's one of the very best in the country, a 1,000-yard tailback. And on defense, again, just up front, they're very physical, very stout. At linebacker, they have 2-3 excellent football players, and they run well in the secondary. And on top of that, playing at Marshall is probably the most difficult feat in the country. They have the highest winning percentage at home of any school at the bowl level. So, it's going to be a very tough challenge, but we had a very good day of practice yesterday. I expect the same today. And, again, we expect our guys to go there and play hard and give a great effort. And I feel good that will happen. And just... before there's any questions, just in terms of P.J. Mahone, yesterday I suspended P.J. Mahone indefinitely due to him breaking a team rule. And, there is a chance that at some point later this year P.J. could return, but there's a couple of things that he needs to do. And if he does those things, he could return, and if he doesn't, then he won't play again. So, I'm not going to talk about what rule or what policy he broke, but just at the beginning of every year we give our teams a policy manual, and there's certain things if they do, there's consequences to those decisions, and coaches don't suspend players. Players make decisions that suspend themselves, and that was what happened here. So I'll take any questions.
You mentioned earlier, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe you said there's a difference between being discouraged and disappointed after a game like Missouri. Could you just elaborate on what you meant by that?
Oh, the locker room we had on Saturday night, we were very disappointed. We had a chance to do something very special there. We were up 14 points with 16 minutes left in the game. And I think our whole football team knew that we left a very great opportunity go by the board. And, we'll never get that opportunity back to beat Missouri in 2009. But, having been at the game and watched how hard our guys played, I'm not discouraged at all about our football team. And in fact, it's the opposite. I'm very encouraged with how hard we played. Some of the improvements we made from the Troy game, how much better we performed in a lot of the special teams. Our kickoff coverage was much better. And yet we made those improvements against a very good football team. So, it's okay to be disappointed, because disappointment you can get over. If you get discouraged, sometimes it gets you in a rut and you can't get out of that. And I'm not discouraged at all, and our team shouldn't be. I think we're capable of doing some very good things this year if we continue to work hard and improve and play hard. And that's where teams that are discouraged don't get better. And I wanted to make sure that our team wasn't discouraged from that performance, because I felt we did have a lot to be proud of.
The day you were introduced at your press conference, we asked you about the discipline surrounding this program and how some saw it as a little lax. You suspending your leading tackler, second game of the season. What message do you hope that does that send to your team?
I don't. When you do things like this, you don't want to grandstand it and say, "Geez, this proves." It's very simple that we have a policy manual, regarding everything in the players' lives, from on the field to off the field stuff, and we expect them to follow those policies. And you can't have a policy manual, and you can't have rules, and then selectively enforce those rules. Whether it's the fifth string walk-on or your starting tackle, you have to apply all those rules fairly and equally. And PJ violated one of those rules, and he knew if he did this, that this could happen, and it did.
Is that brought up in any kind of in the locker room situation? You tell the team, or is it just kind of something that's understood? Or
no, we have a policy manual that we give the players, and the very first day that we report to preseason camp, I go through every single page of it.
Let me clarify. I meant when you make the suspension, do you inform the team?
Yeah, I inform the team because they're going to. I want them to hear it from me that it was done, and I don't want them to hear it, by reading it in the newspaper the next day or seeing it on the news or in the radio. They need to hear from the head coach that, this is what happened. This is what, is being done. And do you have any questions? And they didn't have any questions because they understand what our rules are.
Do you expect Keith Morgan to take most of the repetitions at that spot?
Yeah, Keith. And Keith's a good player. I told our team, football-wise, PJ's a good player, and we'll miss him, but we'll be fine. The one benefit of playing two spread teams the first 2 weeks is that we were in a lot of dime and a lot of nickel situations, and Keith was really like a starter. So he has 2 games under his belt now. He's played very well. He knows our defense, and we all have a lot of confidence in him. So he'll do a great job, and we have a lot of confidence in him, and I know the rest of the team does as well.
When you say suspension, now in terms of his relationship with or association with the football team, will he be involved in practice or?
He's not going to do anything this week, and then we'll meet. I'll meet with PJ next week, and we'll reevaluate what things he can do and can't do. So he will not be playing for a while now.
After facing a spread team, Marshall presents another problem with the tight end. It's something that you said you wanted to work in, but there aren't that many teams in the country that use a tight end to the extent that they do. Mm-hmm. What problems does that cause defensively, and what kind of scheme, or you play one-on-one? How do you defend?
Well, I think that the challenge with a team like Marshall that runs with more of a tight end is it just becomes a much more physical downhill running game. And when you play the spread teams, a lot of the runs are east and west runs, and there's more of a speed aspect to what a Troy and what a Missouri does. And with Marshall, it's a much more of a hard hat, downhill, physical, at the point of attack approach. And one of the reasons that we do what we do on offense is that we want our defense to face that in spring and face that in summer camp. So when we face it during the season, it's not the first time they're seeing it. As you can tell in offense that, at times we look spread-like and at other times we look conventional. And one of the reasons that I really believe in doing that is that it forces our defense to face all those things through the course of spring and the course of fall camp, so that when we face those things in a game, it's not for the very first time that we're putting in defensive concepts or defensive responsibilities. Now, it's been 2 weeks since we've seen that, because once we get in the season, we don't go against each other as much. But even during the season, we spend 10 minutes, 15 minutes a day going Bowling Green against Bowling Green, just so it's not, for the last 2 weeks, they've defended a tight end at some point.
But he presents